Oh, hello. Yeah, some quick editor's notes. I don't know if I was able to correct the issues in the long clip, but there was no megaphones to use after the batteries died. So during the film of the Oakville protests, the rain pitter pattering, the vehicle noise, despite using a cloth to hopefully prevent it, did not really do any justice. I tried my best to clean up the audio in more ways than one, and depending on how it can be done, if it doesn't turn out well, what can I do, right? So I did what I could. Just thought I'd mention that and enjoy the video.
Has been ignoring her constituents, and yet she remains in a position of power. So we must go to her to continue demanding that she calls for an arms embargo. But let us be clear, we know that it is the people who hold the power. Who are we? Wall Street? Politicians in office. Does that mean that we stop showing up? It means that when we do come to these streets, we use our voices. Currently, in the next 24 hours, 14,000 children, babies, are about to be murdered by the Zionist regime by way of forced starvation chains. The very least we can do is use our voices until they are coarse for the children of Gaza. I don't want to see anyone not chanting. Men are the face of that failure. Anita Anand's words are empty. Her platform was a lie, and her silence is violence. And until she calls for a full, immediate, two-way arms embargo, she remains a collaborator in genocide. And I want to say one more thing to Anita. It is not your title or your party affiliation or your rehearsed statement that will be your legacy. Your support for a collaboration in genocide will be your legacy. After over 9 months of genocide, Anita Anand, just come here to your office. 592 of districts of genocide at the 77th year of the Nakba. Constituents, members of the public, women, fathers, children,
really hear her. She's out shouting, that's why. If she was shouting, I'd hear her.